Hello and welcome to another episode of On the Floor with Wayne and Rob. I'm Wayne Highlander, National Sales Manager for Bona Adhesives.
I'm Rob Johnson from Bona Training.
How we doing, Rob?
Pretty good. How you doing?
I'm doing well.
201. Here we go. 201 episodes.
Right out of the gates.
We are off and running, buddy.
Yep. And you know what? It's ironic that we're going to, you and I have done this for a long time together as a team. And when you're some guys that are doing floors, you have a partner and you have a crew working for you or what have you. And this episode I got from Mike Ritchie, was called in and mentioned this episode. He's a contractor in Little Rock, a little bit north of Little Rock, Arkansas, I believe, north of Little Rock, but in Arkansas nonetheless. Very good contractor, very good, very super good guy, great listener of the show. So we thank him for that. And the episode is about going solo, and this happens to a lot of guys in their career for various reasons. Some guys want to go solo. This is a decision that they want to do. This is something that they look forward to. And some guys were forced into it for whatever reason. They lost a partner. In one case, I remember a guy, I don't know the guy, but I remember him through Facebook or whatever. He lost his partner. His partner passed away. And I think that would be a tough one. And they got along really well. And then you got to, all of a sudden, you find yourself in a situation of going it alone, of handling the load by yourself after having a partner to share the load with and share the job site stories with and everything, and share the stress and the good times and the bad times. And now you don't have that anymore. And I think that would be tough. I felt very sorry for the guy. I actually, there's a point in my career that I went solo. So we can talk about that. But I think it's a good topic. I think Mike had a great idea when he suggested this, because I think a lot of guys face this. Some guys want this. There's certainly advantages and disadvantages. Maybe we can talk about some of the advantages of doing this.
So let me ask you a question. When you went solo, were you working alone? You were doing this by yourself?
Yes. I can tell you the circumstances. The last part of my career, I knew my career was kind of winding up. God knows I've accomplished everything that could be accomplished. And
of course,
what else was left? So,
now you're just going to prove to the world that it was all you.
Yes. No. So I wanted, the last part of my career, I wanted to get back to being a craftsman. I was running the business all the time, and I got further and further away from doing floors, running the business. And there was a couple reasons. And I worked with my two brothers, and there was enough work, especially at that time. I knew none of us would ever stress for work. We had more work than we could handle always. We were never slow. I knew I would have plenty of work, so I left and I did my own thing. I gave my business to my two brothers, who today still have the business and do phenomenally well, and I'm super proud of both of them. I can't begin to tell you, they're studs. They're really, really good at what they do. But when I went alone by myself to do this, I mean, the one thing is, gosh, I don't have all the headache of the paperwork anymore and scheduling all the jobs. And I was fortunate. My brothers didn't call in sick. They didn't, you could set your watch by them, man. So I didn't have issues of any excuses of not being there or whatever. I didn't have any of those problems. But I wanted to get back to doing custom jobs and where I could spend time on the floor doing things myself and what have you. And right away, the headache of worrying about other people went away. I only had to worry about me. Okay, that's a plus. The downside of it was, and also you keep all the money. I mean, that can be nice. But the downside is it's all on you now. Every single aspect of this job is carrying the wood. Every little small step is all you, all the time, every time, all the time. And that can get to some people. For me, I was so re-energized when I went back, and then I loved the craft so much, and I just loved what I was doing. So I didn't really feel that burden. I didn't care about the I wasn't bothered by the hard work because I've done the hard work and I did it my whole life. And you know, I edged. We didn't have edger dollies or what have you. I edged like, you know, I edged my entire career and ran the big machine. And so none of that was new to me. What it allowed me to do is it's amazing how much you can streamline everything you do. There is no wasted steps. It brought back memories of when I worked with my Uncle Stan, the very first few jobs, when the most memorable one is installing with him. When was like a 3-5-7 plank floor, which back then was like a really wide floor. I was in his way every step. I was younger than him, stronger than him, faster than him, and he blew me away just because every step was perfect. You know what I mean? He wasted no steps. I'm taking 10 different steps, looking for my tools. I don't know where the tools are. Where did I set this down? And he's just boom, 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 just clockwork. And so by this time in my career, I really enjoyed just streamlining everything so, you know, so well that the jobs went so smooth and everything, you know, working by yourself. And I really enjoyed it most of the time. There are times when the camaraderie of working with other guys and what have you, and yes, it would be nice if I had a guy to help me with this part of the job or do whatever. That was gone. But one worry that I always had that hung over me is what if I get injured? I've never not completed a job I've ever started. My entire career, I've never walked off a job. I've never not completed a job. So I was always afraid that what if I injured my knee or something or my back or whatever, and I can't work and I can't finish a job on time. That worried me a lot. Because that's my reputation and that's just your pride in being a craftsman and doing the right thing and what have you. That was probably what hung over me the most. And I was in good shape. I mean, relatively speaking. But thank you. But I enjoyed that part of it, going solo. I really did. I liked that part of the job. Now, I couldn't. Another downside to it is I would get asked to bid say a 3,500 square foot job, and I knew I couldn't get that job done in the time frame that they wanted it. So I had to pass on some jobs. That hurt a little bit because I know, like, wow, this is a big job. This is a moneymaker, and I'm by myself. I could do it by myself, but I can't get it done in the time frame that they would want me to get it done in. So
you like being alone, don't you?
I don't.
You do.
I
You like fishing alone. You like working alone. You like doing the podcast alone.
No, I don't like doing the podcast alone. That's not true.
You like being alone though. I'm hearing it.
I'll tell you what. Later in life, yes, I do. Yes.
Poor Judy.
That doesn't.
Poor Judy.
No. I love
the older I get, the more I want to be alone.
No, that doesn't
with my own thoughts.
No, wait a minute. I got to clarify that. I'm talking about work and my hobbies, whatever. I love my time with Judy is the first and foremost, most.
That's a good save there, right?
Oh, but I don't need to say.
I did that for you.
Yeah.
That was all for you.
Well, but Judy knows that.
So. I hated working alone.
Hmm.
No way would my hat's off to you, and there's a lot of guys that I meet at trainings and stuff. My own son, man, how you guys do it by yourself, it's insane. That's a lot. That's a lot of steps to do by yourself. I don't know. Plus, it would drive me crazy not having somebody to yak to.
Well, I'll say this about that. Thank God for the headphones and the iTunes back then when I was, the iTunes had come out. So the music, now you could listen to music, whatever you wanted to, whatever. Now podcasts are out. I could occupy my time on podcasts as I'm working.
I've talked to many guys who listen to us while they're working alone.
Mm-hmm.
A lot of guys listen to us while they're working alone. So maybe you struck a chord with them.
Yeah.
Alone. the alone
Yeah,
guy. But you get to keep the only thing I agree with, you get to keep all the money. That was a good one.
that's nice. Yeah,
Yeah, that's a good one.
that is nice.
Yeah. I know there
I,
was times out there where Peter's like, should we really be splitting this in half?
yeah,
I think
yeah.
I felt like I did a little bit more. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yep.
That was Peter. That was never me.
Right. Oh,
I
I'm sure. Yeah. You know, I really feel sorry for guys, and I want them to take heart. If you did have a partner and you lost a partner for reasons, or you find yourself working solo for reasons that you didn't want, that you know what I mean, that you were kind of forced into this, or just the way life happened, you found yourself in this situation. I would say don't judge it by the first few months, 6 months, a year, whatever. I'd say give it more time than that. And you might find that, yes, the adjustment is like off-putting to you at the beginning, but you may, I'd wonder in a couple of years, would you ever go back to have to work with other people? I would say a lot of guys probably won't, and they find that they might enjoy that more because there is a freedom that comes with. You don't realize sometimes the amount of baggage, good or bad, but it is a baggage. It's a lot in carrying a company. You know what I mean? And all the responsibility that goes along with it. So I think that if you find yourself in that situation, not of your own making, but don't give it a chance and don't get down on yourself or depressed about it or whatever. And it may, and I could be wrong. Maybe it's not for you. You might say, you know what? No, it's not for me. Like you said, you just didn't care for it at all or wouldn't care for it at all. But I think if you gave it a shot, I think a lot of people might be surprised that they do actually find it, that they enjoy it.
hmm. You do it again. If you were going to start up, you would do it.
No,
You would do it
no,
alone.
no. See, I was. Here's the other thing. There's different points of in your life, in your career, that are different. It's just like marriages. I've been married 41 years.
Get it right.
41,
Get
41
it.
years. I
Get
think
it right.
I think 41 years.
Get that number right, man.
Yep. So you go through stages, and I think like and this is a kind of another example. Is like when you're a young kid that live in a small town, and you cannot wait to get out of that small town and move to a big city where it's exciting. A lot of times in life, you find those same people want to go back to a small town. You know what I mean? It happened to me, and so I think you go through stages in life. Now, if you're asking me today if I was to start a floor company as a young guy or right now,
No,
I don't have.
right now.
Well, right now I can't do floors anymore. I'm not the man I used to be. You know that. Look at me.
That's sad.
You see me
Wow.
rock.
That's sad. Yeah.
I'll tell you what. There are the tools out there that are better today than they were in the past. That could have added longevity to the career and made for sure. But at my age, I'm 62, so I would have no desire to start a floor company right now. I mean, it's past me now. But if I was a younger guy, let's say if I was 30 years old and I was going to start a flooring company, no, I'd want to do it. I'd want to do it. I wouldn't want to work solo at that point. I don't think so. I'd want to
You,
grow. I want to see how big I could get.
you just reminded me of I did a school last week up in Montreal. Awesome guys. And you were talking about the new equipment and how you couldn't get back to doing it because you're old and wiped out. You're gone. It's over.
Yeah,
Right? I mean, the best years are so far behind you right now.
wiped out. Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, yeah. What's that song? Living on Borrowed Time?
Yes.
Yeah, it's kind of like that.
Yeah.
Anyways, met a guy, George Cavadas from Planche Zelo, name of his company.
Look at you speaking French.
Oh, didn't take long, right?
Oui.
Oui, baby. Absolutely. So, this guy was first one to the school every day, last one to leave. First in, last out every day. And just loved hanging out, talking. You just see he was really into the floors. You know what I mean? He just
Cool.
loved it. One of those guys.
Mhm.
And listen, most 99% of the people who come to the training, everybody's got the passion. If you're coming to a training, you probably get the passion for it. Well, this guy had the passion, and he said to me, he goes, "Power drive saved my life." I said, "Really?" I go,
Wow.
"That's a hell of a thing to say. How the hell did a power drive ever save your life?" And he showed me some pictures of one of the most gruesome table saw accidents I ever had, I
Oh,
ever
man.
saw,
Wow.
right? And his hands still, the one hand still, didn't work right. I even asked him, I go, "Hey, do you mind if I share the story?" He goes, "No, no, no, not at all."
Mhm.
And he thought his career was over. He really
Wow.
thought,
Wow.
I can't do this anymore. Not with the way that his hand is.
Hmm.
And then he found the power drive.
I'll be damned.
Yeah, yeah, and
Wow.
he told the whole story to the class. Because there were some guys who had never seen the power drive before, and he was going on and on, but everybody's going on and on about it. But when George told his story about what the power drive can do and what it did for him, it I think that gave him even more passion for the job than he had
Wow.
before, thinking that I'm out.
Hmm.
I love doing this, and this accident is, taking me out of it. And he said, once I saw the power drive and tried it, and tried it on a few jobs, he goes, "This is it." He goes, "I'm back, baby."
Wow. Good for him.
Yeah, yeah.
Wow.
It was a pretty
Wow.
great story,
That
and
that
just
that.
one of the great parts of being in training is when you hear things like
Mm,
that, and I'm like, "How did a power drive save your life? Come on!" And there you go.
that's very cool. Wow. Good for him, man. I can you put yourself in your shoes when you love doing something or you need to do something. It's your livelihood, and you think you're out to give you another breath of life, man. Holy smokes, man.
Yeah,
That's a cool story.
yeah.
Yeah. Good for him.
You ever been to Montreal?
Yes, I have. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
So it's been really nice weather around here lately.
Before you go into the weather, did you have to go through customs to get there, or did you go right through, or how did that work?
Customs.
Okay,
Why?
just curious if they asked you for papers, or if you was going to get into a long story about getting into Canada, but continue.
I have no idea where you're going with this.
Your memory, how can you? I threw you a softball right there.
Okay.
Do you remember that crappy story you told us about getting into Canada that took about 10 minutes to tell you? Tell I asked you where you were. You said I was in Canada. Oh, funny story. I talked to an old lady. And then I shouldn't have told her so I had to fill out this paperwork. Do you remember that?
Yeah.
Hey, you see where I'm going now?
No. No, I
Oh my
still don't.
God. You can't. It's not possible that you don't.
Swear to God.
Oh man. Okay, so we may probably have to cut this out. We started the
No, we're not
show.
cutting anything out.
Hold
I
on.
remember the story. Going to
Okay.
Toronto,
Okay.
met the lady.
Yes.
Okay.
It was a long story that seemingly had no end. Okay.
Okay.
All right. So when you got done, I said, hang on, we got to make a note to myself. Never ask Rob how he got into Canada. So you see where I'm going now? I try to tie these together to the
I
stories
still don't see
together.
how you're going. No, I still don't see it.
Unbelievable. Unbelievable.
Yeah.
Okay. I'm sorry. Please continue the story then.
I have no idea where I was at.
I don't either.
I was already in Canada. Now you brought me back to go through customs again. And I know Wayne wants me to tell a custom story. I really don't have one for this. The guy was kind of mad that I was
Stop,
going in,
can you stop right
but
there for a minute?
I'll just keep going.
Okay, I really hate to interrupt you. Eileen, do you happen to be there?
Yeah, I'd like third party on what I'm missing here.
Eileen,
Yes.
do you
I
have,
hate being in the middle of this
I,
crap.
and I hate doing this to you, but you see why I have to, right? Do you
Eileen,
understand?
if you don't come down to my side, I'm taking Pauline's phone away.
Eileen, do you see where I was going? Oh my gosh, she's gonna feel sorry for you this time. I can feel it.
I don't
She's
think any. Ask Chris. I don't
She's
think
on.
anybody does.
She's on mute. Are you on? You realize you're on mute, Eileen?
Oh, no, sorry. I thought I was off of mute.
That's okay. Do you understand where I was going?
I do. But I'd like Chris's opinion.
You know what? I think you're right. I think on this one we need to default to Chris. Chris,
Recap the question again. What's it?
you have a sense of comedy and timing.
Sure.
Do you understand where I was going with this?
I think so.
Yeah, he's told a horrible story last time about getting to Canada. It went nowhere. It was boring. It was frankly a boring story. I said, hang on a minute, Rob. Let me just make a note to myself. Remind me never to ask Rob how he blah, blah, blah. Now you're telling another story about getting into Canada. So I tried to tie those two stories together. Do you want to tell us how you got into Canada and you had nothing?
So you wanted me to remember the last story I told about getting into Canada.
Oh my God.
But
I don't. I'm really not getting it.
Yeah. I guess there's
Get it?
levels.
Yeah, because you got into Canada. You had to tell that old lady the whole story about the hardwood floors and stuff.
Yes. Yes.
So you wanted me to tell that story again?
Look at him struggle, Eileen. Look
He
at him.
just wanted you to relate the two, but I'm going on mute. Bye.
He's in his zone right now, trying to think of what his little mind is searching.
Yeah. Just let me
It
make
is.
this putt, okay? Let me
Got
make
nothing.
this putt.
Okay,
Yeah,
go ahead.
I
Just
got nothing on that. Yeah.
Finish your story.
Okay. So went to Canada.
You asked me if I've been to Montreal.
Yes, I'm gonna try this all over again.
Okay.
You can tease me about not relating the stories because I still don't get it.
Okay.
Anyways, Wayne, you ever been in Montreal?
No.
You should probably never go. It's not your kind of place.
Okay. Yes, I have, and I love Montreal.
Yeah. Well, I have too. And I thought, oh, you know what? The weather's been great around here. It's been like spring. So I thought, you know what? I'll see if Pauline hasn't traveled since COVID. So I'll see if she wants to go to Montreal with me, right? We'll go up on for the weekend. We'll walk around, like we're in Paris.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah. Very nice.
Flowers, spring, the whole deal.
Mm.
Yeah. Well, I really should have looked at the weather.
Mm.
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
Mm.
It was freezing. It was freezing. It was crazy windy. There was no walking around looking at flowers, right?
Wow.
It was crazy.
So you brought her with you?
I brought her with me, crazy weather. And the whole time I'm expecting, well, like Paris, walking around, stop at a cafe, have some coffee, a croissant. I ended up going to Tim Hortons and getting her coffee and some Timbits instead of and I said, you know what? This is going to be better. You're going to like this better, right? But I also said, I go, you know what? There's a really great restaurant that distributor brought me to one time. Well, that place has been closed down.
Oh my God.
Yeah. So Jordan told me about another place to go to. Really, really nice, So I even said to Pauline, I go, I'm going to bring my sport jacket. Why don't you bring something nice too? And we'll,
Wow, look at you.
we don't do fancy, her and I,
Mhm.
right?
Yep.
So we go to this nice place, Gibby's. Name of the place is called Gibby's. Of course, I forgot shoes. So now I'm wearing a sport coat and work boots.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah. So I'm wondering, oh, damn, Pauline goes, oh, there's a dress code.
Mm.
And it's business casual. I'm like, well, hopefully the place is dark. My boots are dark, Anyways, we get into the place. No problem. Business casual's got to be different up there than it is around here. People walking in, ripped t-shirts, jeans, sneakers.
Mm.
But it didn't lower the prices any. But it was great.
Yeah.
Okay.
Okay.
Are you a wine guy?
No. Not at all.
Do you know
No.
how to order wine?
I got nothing on wine.
You got nothing there, right?
Zero. Yeah.
Okay. So I thought, I'm not a wine guy either. I'm going to have a glass of wine, though, right? I got a sport jacket now. I'm going to have a glass of wine.
Yeah.
So I'm having beef, so I know red wine goes with beef, right? I'm looking, and I kind of said, yeah, this one right here looks pretty good. Well, the guy brings the bottle over like this.
Mm-hmm.
And I pointed to the glass of wine.
Yeah.
But he brings the bottle over and he's showing me the bottle, right? The name. I go, yeah, that was the name on the glass. And he starts opening up the bottle. So I'm thinking, oh, this is great. I'm getting, wine from a fresh bottle,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
So he gets the cork out, pours a little bit in my glass, just a little splash, right?
Yeah.
And now he's looking at me and I'm like, oh, damn it. I know I'm supposed to,
Mm-hmm.
what am I supposed to do here? You
Right.
roll it around, you sniff it, something like that. And then so he's staring at me, I'm staring at him, and I'm like, oh, this is typical. I should have just gone with Diet Coke or coffee. You can't go wrong there.
Yep.
So I, all right, take a swig of the wine. I go, yeah, that's great. Thank you, And then he pours Pauline a glass, and I go, oh, crap, I just bought a bottle of wine. She ain't going to drink it. She don't drink wine. She hates it.
Oh, no.
Yeah. So now I got this whole bottle of wine. It was okay. It was pretty good.
Mm-hmm.
I only wanted a glass.
Yeah.
I was hoping ended up talking to my brother-in-law, and he said, look, this is how you do it. You're just seeing. I go, what if you don't like it? Do you send it back?
Mm-hmm.
You say, nah, this is crappy. And he goes, no, that's called uncorking. All you do is you give it a little sniff, taste it to make sure that it didn't go punky in the bottle. Sometimes the cork ain't right or something like that. And so if you're going to order wine, I think you got to know what you're doing. I don't. Probably never happen again. I should have had a pina colada or something like that. At least,
Mm-hmm.
I'd know how to do it. Just another boring Canadian story to tie in with your.
I didn't want to say it.
Your boring story about the
did.
last time I crossed the border.
Something about you. Something
How's that
about
for tying that all together for you, huh?
something about you when you go into Canada. The stories. Okay, but you did remind me of something. When your lovely wife followed you into this miserable weather, into these places that were closed, and all these things that went on. Do you know the life cycle of the spawning cycle of a largemouth bass? Do you know how it works?
No.
Okay. The male goes and finds a nest first. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
Then he goes out and he finds a female bass, and he prods her over to this nest. Okay, where then she'll lay the eggs. All right. She leaves, and then he guards the eggs until they turn into frying and whatever. That's his job. But I always wondered to myself, like sometimes women marry stupid men, and I'm not saying you, but I'm not saying you at all. But it reminded me when you were telling that story.
Oh my God.
No. Because sometimes women do marry stupid men. We've always seen that. Believe me, I'm not saying you, Rob.
Okay.
But
this story reminded you
Yes.
of a woman who
Yes.
marries a stupid
Yes.
guy. Okay.
And I always wondered when the male bass goes in and makes his nest, then goes and finds the female bass and brings her to the nest. Do the female ever go, what the hell kind of place of her nest is this? You know what I mean? Especially if it's like the lake drops or something like that, or it's in the wrong, you know what I mean? Like, do the female bass ever go, whatever, hook up with this loser? This nest is a crap nest. You know what I mean? I could have went with somebody else.
Just because I don't know how to order wine or what I'm supposed to do with it.
That's what that story reminded me of when you said that. So okay.
Let me ask you a question.
Yes.
Once they do that, the bass, right?
Mm-hmm.
Because I was snorkeling one day at a lake up in the Adirondacks.
Yep.
And I came across these big circles.
Yes.
Like this huge, perfect circle,
Mm-hmm.
maybe 10 foot in diameter,
No.
like perfectly clean.
Yeah.
Maybe it was smaller. Maybe it was
Okay.
Okay. But these circles were like
Yeah.
perfect, where you could see nothing but sand, and then all
Yeah.
the leaves and everything were all kicked around the side of it. And I go, holy crap, there's a fish in there. Look at that. Now,
Was
is
there?
that the male or the female?
Well, it depends on what time. It could have been both of them too sometimes. So when the male goes in there, usually the nest, in my experience, has been, I don't know, about 10, 12 inches wide or so. And they fan the nest to get all the silt away. So
Yes.
if you ever
yes,
catch a,
that
okay.
was it. Yes.
Okay, if you ever catch a bass that time of year, look at the underside of the bass and the fins. If he's been fanning a nest, sometimes his fins will be bloody underneath. Okay, that's what he's doing. Okay, and then when she comes in, now she's out suspended in deeper water. He brings her in when the weather gets warm. It's got to be up around 60 degrees or more. She'll lay the eggs. She'll leave, and then now all the bluegill and everything else is trying to get to the fry. And that male is guarding the nest the whole time. She's gone now. She's out.
Okay.
Okay.
All right. I was attacked by a male.
Absolutely. Yes.
I couldn't believe it.
Yes.
I mean, this thing came at me like Jaws.
Yep.
It was still only a bass, right? It was still
Mhm.
only 16, 18 inches long tops.
Yeah, that's
He
funny.
came at me with his mouth open like he could have swallowed the whole mask.
Yeah.
It was hysterical.
Yep.
I
That's what-
could not believe the balls on this fish.
Mm-hmm.
The way he got. No. Look at the size of me compared to him.
Yeah.
No jokes.
Somewhere
We're
I'm not
working on it.
somewhere,
We're working on that.
There is no
But he
jokes.
came at me like
Yeah.
I never saw anything in my life. Oh my God, I couldn't believe it. It was the craziest thing I had ever seen. All the years snorkeling, that was the absolute craziest. I saw nothing but mouth when he was right there. He never touched me. He didn't hit me or anything.
Yeah.
He didn't bite me or anything. But he came right up to that mass, mouth wide open. That was pretty cool. It was I jumped a little bit,
Mm-hmm.
but my God, that thing. He was protecting something, man.
Something in that bass spotted some kind of insecurity in you.
You
That
see
he-
how you see how I give them to you?
Yeah, it's
You
too
see?
easy.
You see,
Yeah.
I just
But
give them to you, man.
So when you're fishing that time of year and your bait goes across that nest, you'll see, I've seen him pick up the bait and swim with it and just drop it out. He's not picking up that bait to eat it. He's trying to either kill it or get it away from the nest.
wow.
He's not, at that time, he's not hungry. He's not trying to eat. So anyhow, I don't know where in the world we went with this podcast. And I don't know how we expect to get to another 200 at this rate.
I'll just stop going to Canada.
That would help, I think.
That would
Yeah.
yeah. Yep.
Appreciate it, eh?
Yeah. No more Canadian stories, and but we'll make sure that you do another 30 or 40 cat stories, because
Yes. Yeah.
people are just living for those cat stories. They love them.
Thank you.
I thought that Canada story started out pretty good, though. I mean, the guy, the injury, and power drive. So you're
That
thinking
did.
I should have just ended it right there.
That I would have killed it at the end of that. Yeah.
Okay.
That was a good story. In all seriousness, that was a really good story. Yeah. So, okay.
So when we said that this show is going to be about going solo, I thought the show
went
was going to be about. Yeah, I'm trying to get us back on track.
You got us about as low as it can get right there. When we said solo, that was the low, right there.
So,
That Canadian story.
oh, I bet I could go lower. I got locked out of the house the other night. I could tell that story.
Mm.
Yeah, save that for another time. After your
Okay.
cat story,
Okay.
after a cat story, I'll do that story. But when you said let's do a show about going solo, I thought you meant like me leaving the family business and starting my own business.
Well,
You're talking about leaving somebody and doing this by yourself. So
Well, it could be that too. It could be that's another side of it too, is that You make it, that's making that decision to go on your own. Okay, so I've talked about some reason maybe you didn't want to go, you didn't want to do it, but you're right. There's the other side of that is, you know what? I think I'm ready to go on my own. I think that's another part of this, and that's a pretty scary animal too.
Yeah, that actually could be a whole other show.
Yeah, and I think probably should make it another.
Why don't we
show.
just do that on another show? Because the notes I sent over to you today was more about that than the solo thing.
Yeah, and I got to be honest with you,
you don't really read the notes that I send you. I know that.
Today I didn't have time, so yeah.
Even when you do have time,
I do. I do. Okay. Oh, I wanted to say something too. Remember the show we did with the two floor guys walk into a bar?
Yes.
Yeah. I listened to it back.
He's my toughest critic. Okay.
Not your best work.
Not my best work.
Yeah.
How about you?
I gotta say,
you killed it.
I was pretty pleased.
You killed it.
Yeah, huh? yeah. But just listen to it back. You know what I'm saying?
Okay.
And I do not want to be hard on you at all. I want to make that
of course not.
I don't want you to get demoralized.
No, you look. You're a born director, so you were just born to direct. I get it. Yeah.
Okay.
Yep.
Well, I think we've done all the damage we could on this one.
My hat's off to you guys who are up there doing it solo.
Yes.
All alone, solo, every day. This job is tough enough, but to do it by yourself every single day is would be even tougher for me. So,
well, and I see it the other way. I think it can be just a really good part of your career that you might really enjoy the freedom. Find out you have more time. You're keeping the money to yourself, and you might really think, you know what? Gosh, I actually really enjoy this, and I could have done this sooner. And look at this, a lot less headaches. Especially if you're a seasoned craftsman, you're really dialed in on what you're doing. You don't need anybody else's help on how to do anything. Then this might be one of the most gratifying parts of your career. So we'll leave it at that.
All right.
We agree to disagree.
Once again, 201.
Yep. All right. This has been another episode of On the Floor with Wayne and Rob. Please stay tuned for another episode.